Hi, Sheila. Welcome back. I'm so excited to always talk to you.
Hi, Patty. Thank you so much for having me. And ditto, anytime I see you on my calendar, my day just instantly gets brighter.
Well, I can say the same thing. And I want to celebrate you this year. We're in 2025. Share with us this award you just received and like what ignited you to do this?
Oh, goodness. So, the award you're talking about is very random. It was the Shaky Graves Film Festival Best Short Film of the Year. Now, let me give you a little bit of background. So, Shaky Graves is a musician out of Austin, Texas, and he has some really great bluegrass, country, acoustic music. And he, an entrepreneur himself, decided to make a film festival based on his music. So, talk about entrepreneur, right? Rewind, pun intended, to a few years back. A very good colleague and friend of mine, Steve Hoves, who he and I had made films for work together, documentaries, commercials, things of that nature. We always had such a good rapport and always had fun on set for work. And Shaky Graves announced that he had his film festival in late December. I texted him and he said, "Steve, let's make a movie." Those were the words. We had maybe 4 to 5 weeks of time to work with before we had to submit a film festival entry. And we got together cast, crew, set design. We filmed this baby within 3 weeks' time and submitted it to this film festival. And it was such a beautiful, beautiful collaboration of just going outside of your comfort zones and bringing people together to do something so beautiful. We won. We won this award. We traveled to Austin with our partners and celebrated this monumental experience of watching our work on a big screen and just celebrating the moment. I will say, Patty, I did not record it. I just experienced the audience watching our work. I cried a little bit. I clapped. I was scared. But really, the award was mostly a testament to honoring the power we have within to create something around that doesn't follow a job description or a KPI or none of the above that I feel tracks our life in general. This movie was literally about going within to do something great around.
I love that. So how does this really align with who you are and what have you discovered about yourself through this process?
I love this question so much because what I found through this process was my joy and strength of bringing people together. And when you ask people to do something, you don't necessarily know what type of journey they're on themselves. So, everyone that was a part of this movie had always wanted to do something like this in their spare time, but never had the opportunity to. I Steve and I brought them together. You know, we couldn't have done this alone. We needed we needed help with makeup. We needed help with printing. We needed help with videography. But all of those pieces put together were just such a beautiful testament to honoring a goal that each individual shared. And we literally created a community of people that never acted before, but put themselves out there for whatever reason they needed to at that time.
I think so many of us would love that opportunity. And we see this, right? I think we're coming out of this place where the job description is what defines us. And I'm hoping we're moving into a time where we define us on our own terms. And I've found that within myself. It's like, who I was 2 years ago and what excited me 2 years ago is not what's exciting me today. And so I savor the time when a project comes before me and I get to fully embrace it and grow with it. And it sounds like this is what you did, and you brought people together to try new skills and to test out their, I
Their
guess,
companies.
yeah, their comfort zone and allowed them to play in a different sandbox. And to me, that's like so exciting.
It's so exciting. And, you know, some of our actors didn't even, and they were friends. These are all people that we knew in some capacity. You know, they still haven't watched the movie. They're too scared to, but that's okay. Like, I get it. I wouldn't have been in front of the screen. I was happy writing the script, right? There, we pushed everyone as far as they were willing to go. But what I found was that even though I did this for fun, it actually was in alignment with my professional goals of our business, Luminari Partners, right? Where our mission is to push business to their maximum growth potential. And here I was on a weekend doing that in my spare time. And I had so much fun doing it. So much fun. And I don't know if I could have done that a few years back without limitations or, hey, I have to get ready for this meeting on Monday, which I did, or, you know, how you justify things when you have the space to push the limits is a different conversation you have with yourself. I know you've done that building your land. Um, Same with building a business or just having the space to show up in the way that you need to has been something that hasn't happened before, aligning to shine with myself.
I just love it. And I believe the more we align with our own skills and our own abilities, and you know how much I love to get to know people's strengths and how they show up so that we can show up our best. And when it sounds like you created this perfect environment for, is that each person were able to show up and give their best. They were able to share their concerns or their perceived limitations, sometimes maybe even push beyond them, but to come together and be in synergy, that each of you took a role and a willingness, like you said, the makeup, and somebody else was in charge of something so that you could write the script. And I do see that similarly to the way I ran my company, right? I looked for people that wanted to build something within my organization. I wanted people who wanted to take ownership of a part of it. As we're developing the land, and not in the traditional sense. I don't say developing the land that we're not building high rises, we're not building buildings, we are creating paths and contemplation spaces where people can come and reconnect with the land. And some of the people who have come and want to support this, as they bring their gifts, Iris has worked with a kiln before, and we have terracotta here on the property. I don't know if it's called terracotta, but we tested some of the clay that came right from the pond, and it turned the most beautiful orange terracotta with
Really?
no glaze on it. It's just straight from the ground. We have this gift of terracotta. And we have this just amazing hillside now that the weeds are gone, that we have all these herbs that are just growing wild, right? Yerba buena, and we've got the bay leaves that we make tea with. And so as people are coming to get to know their strengths, in a different way, right? Your team worked on this movie and they got to know, I have no doubt, a lot about themselves. And I would love to hear those stories. I think you could create a story within this story about how each of the people on your team stepped up and learned something about themselves because they tried a new path. And I believe that's what life is about because every time I've gotten frustrated with life, it's because I thought I was stuck on a path. Every time I mix up the path, every time I try something new, every time I go out on a limb and experience a different story with someone and
Mhm.
create a different opportunity, life gets really exciting.
It gets so exciting, and the stress that comes with it is a different type of stress. It's almost like it's like, oh, when will I get to do this next? It
Mhm.
really is a beautiful process on turning the tables on defining the opportunities as opposed to like what you said earlier, the opportunities defining us, right?
Mhm.
So much control happens when that perspective shift happens. At least that's what I found. I know
Mhm.
lately I haven't been overworked because things are balanced. And that's a different space for me to be in is I've really limited the noise, which is nice. And therefore have been able to show up for people and clients and myself in ways that I've never shown up before. The conversations are so much more beneficial. The deliverables are so much more wholesome and authentic. It's a beautiful path. And, starting with your first question, why did you make this movie? It was truly about seeing what was possible. And now, of course, I have a little bit of stage fright and writing the next script, but I know no matter what, it's not a job I'm doing alone. It's a team. It's
Mhm.
a beautiful creation that only we are defining. And that's what life should be about, right, Patty? I'm sure you have found that through your work and your continued work in community.
And it's all an opportunity. And one thing, if you may I share something that just, a thought that I
Yeah.
had, even before you said about writing the next script, I had the thought of, I see people all the time putting this pressure on themselves. They've been successful. And then all of a sudden, something that was so playworthy, that was so fun, that was so exhilarating, becomes a pressure-filled situation to recreate it.
Yeah.
And I'm here to share that you are not trying to recreate. You're trying to find the next level of fun and connection and opportunity that may be far superior than what you just did. You are not trying to create the same experience. You're able to go even a step deeper. And I will also say, if you need a location for your next filming and a story, we've got this beautiful space over here that I am telling you is crazy cool.
100%. Thank you, Patty.
Well, one of the things, and I would love somebody to like understand this place. Well, not only has the rain's been here, and so the foliage here is amazing. Right now, we've got the ferns, the herbs, everything's just popping out of the ground, and the mushrooms and the lichen, and everything's beautiful. And we're at the top of the Santa Cruz Mountains, and at the pond, right where there's still water, the shale on the back wall is completely level. On one end of the property, the shale that's on the hillside is at a 45-degree angle. So all these levels of sedentary rock, right, which is at the top of the mountain, has been, billions of years ago, probably. And then yesterday I found a space on the property where the sandstone is absolutely vertical.
Are you kidding?
No, it's absolutely the layers of sandstone are cracking absolutely vertical. And it's all along this ridge that makes this space. I mean, this space is magical, right? And I'm learning more and more about it. And some point, I want to tell the story about Martina Castro. There's a book, it's called The Tragedy of Martina Castro, and she owned in the 1800s, she owned most of Santa Cruz County. And it was before, anyway, it's a huge story. And she owned this land. And there is a redwood tree that is identified in that book of the property that Martina Castro owned that is on my land. And that place is now known as Forgiveness. And there's a huge story around that, but that's where I found the vertical sandstone. That's where this book is identified in the 1800s as a piece of Martina Castro's land. And ultimately, I know we're going a little on the side here, but I think it's so interesting. So Martino Castro, she got the land because her brother had acreage. And her quote was, if my brother can get a ranch, I'm going to see if I can. And she ended up being this huge landover. But at the end, we don't know the full details, but she ended up being committed as a crazy lady, and her land was essentially redistributed. So it's, that there's that piece of it. So you don't know really what happened, but I know this land is connected to that. And I know healing takes place here. And it's this just beautiful space. So anyway, I love that women I feel are being called here to find that voice, to find that redesign of the next chapter. And I believe we have new chapters every 2 years. For me, it's every 2 years. That's my cycle. I like to recreate an opportunity about every 2 years. For some people, it may be every 2 weeks. I don't know. But for me, every 2 years, I seem to need to recreate myself. And in the past, I used to blame people. Oh, so and so is making this job really hard for me, so I need to move on. It
Right.
was never the other person. It was me needing a new challenge, a new story.
I love that you said that, Patty, because just this morning during my swim, the words origin story were front and center in my mind. And that was intentional. I was swimming just a couple of lanes from the lane I learned how to swim as an adult. And I always get a little teary eyed when I'm near that lane because that was just a testament to literally sinking or swimming in a new environment where I learned how to swim as a kid, but got scared through my formative years and decided I was a land animal as opposed to a water animal. But these origin stories, like you said, there can be multiple. You can learn how to paint as an adult. You can learn how to swim. You can try to run that triathlon or marathon, whatever that is. I mean, these are all pieces that make us who we are and define the journey that we have yet to write. Like you had mentioned, writing a new chapter before we started to record. I love that I do not know what tomorrow will bring. I love that. I think that would have scared old Sheila to not know what exactly tomorrow had planned, but now the beauty is that I am here, I am strong, I'm confident, and I could take on anything. And it's the space that you and I have given each other's in our respective lives to show up for ourselves in that way.
I
And
love
literally no regrets about it. it's it's beautiful. I wish every woman, every person can make that journey happen for themselves in some way, shape, or form. It really is about owning life and what
it.
it's meant to be.
Say more about that because I see that in you and I
Mm.
see you. I'd like to hear more about the control thing because I think that's a huge thing. When we control every aspect of our lives, it leaves no room for magic.
Yeah, it leaves no room for magic. That's beautiful. I think regret was always really scary for me. Like, oh, did I do enough? Oh, did I show up enough? Oh, did I have enough fun? There was always this cloud overhead, of I hope my life was worth it. And the end, right? When you're reflecting back. But, when Cheryl and I made the decision to start Luminari Partners with the support of our families, like I didn't quite realize what that decision would give me in terms of fulfillment. Yes, it would make a whole new career, but what it did, what a whole new career in the sense of what your tax status is, right? But what it really gave me was the opportunity to show up for myself and for others. Last year, on the day that we launched Luminary Partners, we had a huge family emergency that went on for almost a year. And had I been at a regular 9 to 5 job, I couldn't have been there with my family.
Mm.
There was just that what happened when I made that decision was that I gave myself the leeway to be where I needed to be in life. And that was a really beautiful moment for me. And it's continued to build in the last 12 months or so, where now give me a challenge, I will succeed. Give me a place to be, I will be there. And it's just absolutely beautiful. And I'm sure you've experienced that in your day-to-day as well.
Absolutely. And I feel that even though the dialogue, right, from it seems like a lot of people put us menopausal women into a pasture somewhere and we've done our stuff, we've raised our kids, we've maybe started our business. That's nice, let the younger generation come in. I'm 58 and I have to say I don't think had more focused energy and joy.
Mhm.
I have understanding life at this whole different way and being able to show up and create things and get excited and change where my focus is, that I'm not having to be um, the same person I was 2 years ago. And the beauty of it is that everything I've ever done, I'm seeing is a thread that wove to this story to who I am today. And it is the tapestry is phenomenal when I step back and actually look at all the magic and all the heartache and all the trial and all the miserable moments that got me to this amazing place that I actually get to live in now.
It's kind of like you can see the branches on your tree grow. Like you
Mhm.
can actually witness that and you can feel it. You can feel that you matter in the world, that you are making a difference. I go back to the movie and, people are saying, oh, wow, that was so cool that you and Steve did this. It's like, well, I guess it is. you know, for for him, he actually went to film school and has always wanted to make a movie, but it wasn't until I said to him, "Steve, let's do this," that we did it, right? Like we all have these parts to play and these roles to lift and these pathways to walk down. I just love that at this very moment in my life that the paths, no matter how scary that they may look, that I'm ready with my shoes, my backpack to to charge forward. And I don't know if I would have been that way a few years back. Probably in some way, shape, or form, cautiously, but now I'm ready to jump off that cliff and see what might come. And I guess that's my hope for everyone, no matter where they are in life, is just to see the potential that we all have to make dreams come true. Big, small, medium, we all have it.
I
And
love it. Right now, I really do believe that we have an opportunity to find like-minded people that are excited to try something new. This seems to be a year of
awesome.
experimental, let's see where things land. Who's not to say we can't try something else, that we can't choose how we show up in the world. And more, I'm seeing that my legacy, it's not about necessarily anything I build, except that I want to be known for giving other people a lift up,
Mhm.
to be known as a person that helped others see the possibilities. And we all are going to have trials and struggles in our life, and we can use those as lessons. We can use those as part of the journey that give our lives meaning. If I could imagine the worst possible life, it would be a life of calculated, every day goes exactly as planned. And to me, that sounds awful. I will take I will take the struggles, I will take those lessons, because the most monotonous, boring, awful life I can imagine is one with no surprises. And I welcome the surprises. I welcome the interruptions now, because those are the things that I've learned give absolute meaning to my life. The day that my junior high coach, and I was 12 at the time, came up to me in the hallway of my junior high and said, "Do you want to throw the shot put and discus?" And I said, I have no idea what those are, but I'll try. Like, if there was one thing that maybe I would wish for others, it's that curiosity, right? I had the gratitude that somebody would think that I could be good at something. I mean, I was a cross country runner at the time, and somebody said, "Okay, you're an awfully big cross country runner. Why don't you come throw the shot put and discus?" I could have been offended by that, but instead I went,
Awesome.
"Okay, I don't know. Why
Why
not?"
not?
So we tried it. And so this is what you did, right? Other people you brought together. Let's try something and look at how successful it was. And I would be willing to bet that the success of your film what had everything to do, and I don't know the other people, so this is not a personal thing in terms of, taking anything from them, but I know your spirit. I know the energy that you bring into any given situation. I know you because I see you. I see the beauty that you see in others. I see how you show up with this infectious energy that others can't help but get on board. And that is a gift. That is that energizer, that positive energizer that people talk about. And I know it's what has drawn me to you over the years. You have that just magnetic energy about you that tells me that you're going to survive and thrive in any given situation because you're going to make it good for you and everybody else.
Oh, thank you, Patty. That's so kind. I go back to the day where I think it was one of your conferences where I said, I want to help. We're going to do a conference over here. I'm not taking no for an answer. I will say that's where my stubbornness really helps me out. But no, thank you, Patty. I really appreciate those very kind words. I love bringing people together and making dreams come true for others. There's nothing better than that human connection and seeing dreams come alive. That that's my joy.
Then
Always
let's do more of that. Let's you and I want to gather thousands. I want to gather millions of women who want to live this way and to build each other up and to find a way to get authentically back in touch with ourselves. I believe we can all find that synergy together when we show up as our best, when we release fear and start to realize that when we connect with each other, when we bring our best to the playground, we're great.
exactly. I think I once told you this story where a girlfriend of mine had asked me to paint her dog for her. And the night that I painted, I was not in a great headspace. What I created turned out to be the best, one of my favorite art pieces I've ever done. I never even gave it to her because I accepted, and she knows this, that I couldn't give it away. But she accepted, and I accepted that it's okay to feel things, unhappy things. It's okay to feel the happy things, but what you do with those feelings and how you let them show up is the thing that gets us to the next place in life. It's where the growth happens, it's where the change happens. And that is my hope, is that we don't put ourselves into these boxes where, oh, you have to be happy all the time. No, I have bad days. I have mean thoughts. I have sad thoughts,
We're human, honey. We're human.
we're absolutely human, but this space that I've given myself and been comforted in doing for myself has given me that space to accept who I am in any given moment and see it through to the other side.
I love it.
And I that's my hope for everyone, that you never stop short of that learning.
And I believe that's the opportunity we have. My hope is that I will continue to learn every day of my life, that I will grow with my kids as they become adults, as they learn things, that I will, be a wise woman for them, that I will be a support to their lives, that I will help them see life for what it is and have the ability to talk about literally anything. That my hope is that my kids, that we will have an open door. And granted, my kids are older, right? The youngest is now 27. So they're all getting older, they're all growing up, they're really beautiful people. And I'm realizing the legacy I want to have with them is the same that I want to have with you and other beautiful people in my community, that I want to have this open dialogue that you and I, we may not speak for months, and yet we get together and it's like this because we're just so excited about the journey that we're on.
Pick up where we left off. I love it.
Yeah. So let's do this again. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep cheering each other on because I really believe our lives are just getting started and the best is yet to come.
Thank you, Patty. You can't get rid of me. I will be here anytime.
Always.